My car keeps telling me that the driver is unbuckled, but I am at $40 of $65 at my pump, so I'm fixing to have to get back out. So there's that. That's right. Alright, I am fixing to drink a little orange juice. I'm not the biggest orange juice fan at all. Oh, let me turn this off. Oh, I don't know. Does it replace, like, if you don't use the whole amount? Oh, does anybody ever feel that way? Fuck, I'm having a... That hurt my fucking thumb. Oh, star party. Thank you guys for sending stars to nothing. Oh, fuck. I am going to start very light interval training. You're like, here, what are you doing? It's 8:30 in the morning. Well, I got up this morning and I went to my... Fuck, I'm not okay. Hold on. I went to my 6-month checkup from COVID. Basically, my checkup was supposed to be in January. Like, I think 6 months since I had COVID was in January. And anyway, when I went, the doctor and I had quite a bit to talk about. My blood pressure is still staying kind of low, and on top of my blood pressure staying kind of low, the whole reason I went is because I just told them yesterday when I called that I've been having, anytime that I get like worked up, or I have tried to start jogging just a little bit because I've gained quite a bit of weight. And right now I jogged from the pump to the gas station and back, and like, I'm seeing stars, and I am, you know, not able to kind of catch my breath. So kind of funny, because I had not really thought about that, but way to show you instead of just saying it. You guys make sure you send stars. We have 2 minutes on the clock, and we have about 1,600 more stars to go. Hey, I am live, so can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I seen it that you were jogging, and I drove by your house, and I was like, huh, where's Sarah? You're jogging.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm headed back out there right now.
Oh, you are? Okay. I'm not too far behind y'all.
Okay.
Do you need me to call you back?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Right.
Are you okay, or you need me to call you back?
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine.
I'll call you back.
Seen on your live that you were jogging.
I love you. I'll call you back.
Alright,
Bye.
love you too. Bye.
Bye. Jess is one of my favorite little humans. Her and I had a really rough evening. I am learning a lot. I am learning a lot about people and about disappointment and about that. And I can tell that Jess is struggling today. Yesterday I left my property and I went and had lunch at 4 o'clock with one of my favorite people in this entire world. I was fortunate enough to meet my very best friends in the entire world as a young adult. And my best friend that I had even before I met Robin was Amanda. And I've had Amanda since I was 18 years old. I met Robin at 18, 19 years old. Shortly after meeting Amanda, I might have known Robin. No, I knew Amanda first. Then I met Robin. Robin's in her 50s. Amanda is 39 and holding. Forever. We're never leaving our 30s. So people can say what they want about my character, but I can tell you that I have had the same best friends forever. And as I ate with Robin yesterday and I looked at her and in my mind, I just see the evolution of this woman from when she became my friend and she was a mom of 2 young girls and she was just working so hard to now she is in her 50s and she just recently kind of got the place of her dreams and how hard she's worked. And then I drove her to see my place because she's never seen it. And I just felt very grateful and very proud, not only of her, but of me. And then I started to think on my drive after I dropped her off yesterday about all of the turmoil that there has been lately and about how I guess I had really good friends. Okay, I had 2 amazing friends at a very young age who loved me unconditionally, who saw me through all my bullshit, and who always believed that I could be better, do better, pick yourself up by the bootstraps and go. Like Robin has been fantastic to me. Amanda has never wavered. Her mother and her father, they're divorced, and her mom's new husband and her dad lost his spouse, and now he's got a girlfriend but all of that is like her parents love me, so that is awesome. And then I love Robin's daughter. She has a daughter. Do you guys remember when I was pregnant, a little girl came to stay with us named Cutter? She's beautiful and she had really dark brown hair and she was beautiful. And if you guys remember, I got her bucked off a mule. Do you guys remember when we had this really great mule and he came right to the gate and Gary put the halter on him and he legged Cutter up and went to lead Cutter out of the alley on this mule, and the mule just had never been rode bareback, or the mule had been driven and never seen anybody. He had always had blinders, and Gary didn't want her to get hurt, so that mule is bucking and Gary will not. He has got the halter fisted. And this mule is like slinging Gary around and bucking, and Cutter's trying to get off, and Gary is like getting drugged and stepped on. Anyway, Cutter is Robin's daughter, and Gary was just not gonna let her get hurt. So he double fisted that halter. He was not letting that mule be a jerk. Anyway, Cutter is Robin's daughter, and I love them. And I love that I have such amazing friends. And I see in Jess her being the age that I was when I needed those friends the most. And I love her. I love everything about Jess. And I respect her. I respect Dara a great deal. Dara has been my friend prior to me living here. Dara was my friend for years. So, anyway, long story short, I have been trying to, gain some understanding recently of how or why suddenly I have decided that I want people to like me. I've never needed that. I think that when I was younger, I didn't like people, but it was because I knew who people were. I had had a really rough high school experience. So fast forward beyond that. And then I got really good friends and I was barrel racing, and, you know, it's easy at that point to be like, oh, people are jealous, or oh, this, or oh, that. But then as I started doing this, I really, in the very beginning of me rehoming horses, lots of people celebrated it because it was new, and they were like, oh, you know, like, this is great and good for you. And then those same people would find reasons not to like it. Kathy, Elizabeth no longer works for us. Yeah, nope, and she will not be back, and that's okay. Don't forget to vote for her or whatever in her Inked magazine thing. And you don't even have to watch videos from the last 2 days. Let me just tell you, Elizabeth made the decision 2 days ago while I was quit. She made the decision to quit, and the night before we had a long talk. Her quitting the following morning was as shocking to me as it was to all of you. And the things that have transpired since then are shocking and heartbreaking, and it's okay. Elizabeth does not work for me. She had not done anything wrong. She was not fired. I didn't text her and tell her that she had to get off my plate. There was nothing like that. She just texted me and told me that she felt like, she texted a little bit. What she said in one of the comments yesterday is that she just woke up and decided that the job was no longer worth it, and she was working too many hours for not enough money, so she quit. And that is pretty much the God's honest truth. The job was no longer worth the money she was being paid, and she needs or wants, and she has verbalized to me 100 times that she wanted the job, she loved the job, but she has verbalized 1,000,000 times that she wanted to make more money. And I want you guys to know that just because somebody quits my facility, I'm not mad at them, or I'm disappointed, I'm hurt, listen, I'm extremely hurt. But the one thing I can tell you this time is I'm not going to react out of those emotions. Like, I can sit with those emotions. Last night, I sat with those emotions and I said, I have had the same best friends all this time. And so one of my love languages is loyalty. So when I tell somebody that I really, really love them and that they are my friend, I mean that. And so I have to separate Elizabeth was my friend and Jacob said to me last night, Tara, and you know, sometimes it's okay to just be, and that's okay. There were some things that I think maybe upset her. I just found out after she quit, we were trying to get the trash thing sorted out, and I found out maybe there was an issue with the dogs, but I didn't know about that. I just found that out, that they were not coming to pick up our trash because the trash man said. Now, there's always two sides. I mean, I'm sure, this is what I will say. I'm sure something did happen. The trash man didn't just decide after a year of picking up my trash that they're not going to come. My account was flagged because they said that they had a dog bite. Not a dog bark, not a dog chase, not a dog. The driver said that they got out and that a dog charged them, and that when they ran for the pickup, that she proceeded to chase them and jumped up on the back of the passenger and ripped his pants. So it was not a dog bark. It was not a dog run at. They claim it was a dog bite. Now, did that happen? I have no idea when there. I have no idea. Do I think that's serious? Absolutely. Can there be a dog at my property doing that? No. But it's already rectified itself. But I'm not mad about it. Like, I mean, I have decided this is the best decision I ever made for me. The best decision I ever made for me is that I'm not going to punish myself for being angry for someone else's actions. Like, being angry is such a self-punishment. And if you don't believe that, it is the God's honest truth. Being angry about a situation that you can't change is punishment to yourself. And I'm not going to punish me for something I didn't do and I had nothing to do with. Now, what I will say is I have made it very clear that no dogs can be on the premises except for Skeeter. Even Charlie is not there because Charlie went to Jess's house because and another thing, hold on. Paige, Nobody ever said that Elizabeth dumped Charlie or took Skeet. Don't. Sharon, at the end of the day, you can't sue me for a dog that doesn't belong to me. So, and I do know that for a fact. We've already had that conversation. Dog didn't belong to me. I don't know what to say. But what I can tell you is nobody ever in a million years said Elizabeth did that. And I don't like those assumptions, because let me tell you, that right there is how come when staff leave my property and I say, listen, my feelings, I'm just trying to be honest, my feelings are hurt, I didn't expect it, this is somebody I thought that was my friend, this is somebody that had vocalized that they were going to stay long term and help me build, and we had the conversation that I cannot provide a raise in your salary until the Wild Tribe After Hours grows, so we need to try to create some content. But what I can provide for you is you can do spa days, and there are things that you can do. And I will say that I do think a little bit of my property looking like it does is because I think collectively, instead of doing some of the work that are the tasks that are like should be your to do, it's been, hey, I have a lot of extra time, send me money for spa days, so actual task. So I sent a text message right before that just basically said, hey, I'm going to cut spa days back. I'm not going to have the packages sent to the house as gifts. I want y'all to know that this isn't like a punishment, but in the same breath, all of those things are a reward. And right now, I just don't feel like everything is getting done to my standard. And, the office looks like that. So until we can get things back on track, like, we're not going to do all the gifts. We're not going to do. And then I said, so maybe what we should do is we should have the gifts that people want to donate. We can maybe have one set day that is spa day. Like, let's do one set day that is spa day. You know what I mean? That way I know and expect for the chores not to be accomplished to your fullest. And, but as far as like all the gifts and all that. So anyway. Oh, Kelly, please send me. And Kelly, we may have something for you, but I don't know that you would be interested. We need to just see when it gets here. So anyway, I'm excited to see Irmo's like, I'm just excited to see Irmo in general. Fuck, I'm excited to see Kevin. So what I want to say is that, Brooke, absolutely. So what I want to say is that all of these things that transpired were not really like a blow up. Can I please get an amen on that? Like, I set a bunch of boundaries. I set a bunch of very strong boundaries. Once those boundaries were set, Elizabeth verbalized that at that point, this job is no longer worth doing, and she's quitting because those boundaries made her feel like the job was not worth it. Nope, Deb, first of all, Deb, that is a very limited mindset. You are automatically assuming the most negative of the situation. And why? What reward is there for you to say that, am I disciplining my staff or punishing the horses, when neither of those things are accurate? When I show up to my property and it looked like it did, that to me is a punishment to me, and it's a punishment to the horses, because if my facility is represented in that manner to the public, how is anyone in America going to take my establishment serious? So how about this? How about we turn that around, and is me allowing them to have spa days and the chores not be done to their fullest? Let's back up. So I'm not taking it personal. What I can say is that my place is spotless. It is spotless. When I got home last night from having dinner with Robin, my facility is spotless. 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 So, I didn't publicly say all of that. I didn't publicly. So, what I will say is please understand, And this is something that's hurtful to me. I don't want for any of you to be accusing Elizabeth of things that have happened because she's not there and you're just digging for a reason. So I'm going to defend her character and say, one, this is somebody that has been my friend. This is somebody I have had dinner with. This is somebody I've invited into my home. This is somebody that I want to see succeed beyond my wildest imagination for her. And if that job is no longer worth it to her for whatever reason, I have to say, okay, I respect that. That kills my heart. It hurts my feelings. I am shocked, but I am okay with releasing any anger I would have because you need to go do what's best for you. But let's not take everything that I say and assume it's about her. Like, we have now set a boundary moving forward. And this has to do with other people that have worked at my property, bringing people to my property after hours. And this is not Elizabeth. This was even Brandon, not to throw him under the bus. He's doing fantastic as far as I know. His mom works for me still. So, whatever. But I'm saying we have set a boundary that people cannot come to my property after hours if you want to meet somebody on Tinder. This was a boundary I had set with Charlie, and God love it. I did it because I lived in the house with my daughter, and my husband did not want anybody coming into the home that we have not known for a long time. And my husband is the one who said the other night, my husband is not friends with my staff and not whatever. And my husband just point blank said, I don't want another motherfucker on that property. I mean, and if you don't like it, then go rent a house in town. And he said, we set that boundary with Charlie. That was your friend for years. Charlie is still my friend. I shouldn't even, I mean, but in your 20s, you're allowed to date. You're allowed to do those things. I was allowed to do those things. So here's the thing. It's hard because I blur that line. And it is okay if Elizabeth wants to move on. But Paige made the comment, why did she steal Charlie? And we don't know. We don't know who did it. Like, let me say that the car that dumped Skeeter out was a little white car. Don't you think if it was Elizabeth's vehicle, I would not have jumped in my vehicle, called the police, and chased her until the police showed up? And let me tell you, I'm not afraid to fight Elizabeth or afraid to, if she did something like that. If Elizabeth had ever harmed my animals or my dogs, I would have not been afraid to. So please never assume. Those are the things that this is what happens. What happens is I say something and you don't know who I'm talking about. So you automatically assume it's someone, and then problems are created because people will contact that person privately and be like, Tara said on video, just so you know, ... that you stole the dogs. And if you've messaged her that and you've made her feel like she's been a topic on my videos that was not about her, you're a piece of shit. Don't do that to somebody. Don't do that to me. And don't do that to her. Like, don't do that to somebody. I want to put this to rest and talk to you guys about things that have nothing to do with her. I mean, that is a door I closed. I closed it out of respect for myself because I'm not going to dwell on, well, what should I have done different so Elizabeth doesn't quit? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to change my entire fucking property because one person didn't like it and felt like the job was not worth the $500 a week salary and a free place to live. They didn't feel like it was worth it anymore. I can't pay more than $500 a week. And I can't tell you how many times I've drove out there and Elizabeth would still be in the barn working at 9 or 10 o'clock. And I would be like, what are you doing? And she would say things like, I can't sleep, or oh, I needed to get this off my mind, or because that is what helped her. But you can't turn around and say, I have been working 16-hour days out here for you. That's not required. That's not requested. That is not something anybody has asked you to do. And I did have people attack me on my live video last night that said that. Why would you have your staff out there 14 hours? I don't. The tasks that are assigned to my staff, we have timed. If you get started and do your job and you leave and you come back and do your job and leave, it takes exactly 5 hours at the most to do all of the chores. 5 hours. Yep, 5 hours. 5 hours. So even if somebody worked 7 days a week, that's 35 hours. It's not even a full-time job. Now, what does happen at my property is I get TikToks of Jess, or messages with Jess dancing around the pasture. I get, videos of Elizabeth riding stuff bareback. None of that's work. It's okay that they do it, and I'm not going to tell them because it is contracted labor, basically. So these are the tasks you have at hand, and as long as these are done, I am not even remotely going to be upset that you're sending me videos in the middle of the day you riding a horse. I don't care about that. Go have fun. Whatever soothes your soul. So you can't say, though, that it's 14-hour days. When Jess and Elizabeth were both off of my property yesterday, before sundown, and the most of yesterday, we bullshitted and hung out and did cartwheels and played and whatever. So you cannot say that. Now, if that is what you've got in your mind and that is what it's turned into and that's what it feels like to you, by God, so be it. But as my following, I would rather you not be here. I would rather you excuse yourself, and I would rather you follow someone else if you ever feel like you have the right to pick a favorite staff member, or you have a right to miss my staff, or if you have the right to follow them on their social media and then when they no longer work for me, inbox them that they were mentioned indirectly. No. Fuck no. Get the fuck off my Facebook. I don't want you here because, one, Elizabeth doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve accusations. She doesn't deserve those things. And you cannot tell me that some of you haven't done it, because I know you have. And the next problem is you're playing with fire. You don't know Elizabeth. You don't know her mentality. You don't know if she gets angry enough, the things that she may or may not do. And do not put her in the position that I receive text messages in the middle of the night that are ugly. Because let me tell you, what is not okay is for people to start to pick at something that doesn't exist to create an issue because it's drama that you want to watch happen. That's not okay. Elizabeth chose to quit her job because her job was no longer worth it to her, because her salary was not enough for the amount of work she felt like she was putting in. And with the spa days and everything else that I had gifted, the ability to let's try to do this being cut back because I wanted to get everything at my property, done. She was on live yesterday, and some of the things that she said, I don't agree with. I don't agree with, she said on live video that she worked 14-hour days and this job was no longer worth it. Nobody at my property has ever been asked to work a 14-hour day. She said that it wasn't her, or that her dog just barked at the trash guy, that it didn't bite him. Let me tell you something. The report says dog bite. I wasn't there. It doesn't matter. And you know what? Here's the thing about those things. The trash had nothing to do with Elizabeth. We just discovered yesterday. So, no, you can see why it was assumed about the dogs yesterday. Why would anybody assume anything? Why would anybody assume anything? What good did it do any one of you to assume that it was Elizabeth when we were talking about the dogs? I think this has been a really good lesson for me to learn that some of you, most of you that are watching don't know, don't care. You're just killing some time. But why would any of you assume that we are talking about any person? Did Jess accuse Elizabeth to her face of dumping Charlie? Yes. Did Elizabeth say, there's no way in the world I would never do that? Yes. And then did we believe her? Yes. And then did we start looking for the dog? No, because the next day it was brought up that he had probably been shot. So let's fast forward. So now that we know that Charlie was dumped by someone, we have no proof of who, and we're not accusing anybody. We do know that one person that lives right around there, you know, had kind of come over a time or two, and right around that time. Was it Elizabeth? No. And then the white car that jumped Skeeter, was that Elizabeth? No. So why would anybody assume when we told you that a car dropped Skeeter off at the end of the driveway, you assume that it was Elizabeth when she drives an SUV? It was never implied, Christy. That is somebody assuming. That is somebody assuming. That is you just taking two things that you know and trying to make it something. Nobody ever, again, let me reiterate that Jess and I said a white car dropped Skeet off at the end of my driveway. Did you miss that part? Well, I can always tell exactly who someone is. And so here's my next problem. If it was implied that it was Elizabeth, we would have never in a million years not just said like, hey, Elizabeth's vehicle. Did you guys think about that when Skeet was dumped out? And regardless, Skeet was dumped out at the end of my driveway. One, why did somebody feel comfortable taking my dog? Two, why would we say it was a white car? I just don't. So there is a moment like this right here to where it's a lesson for me, because I can tell that some of you are looking into what I say too much. Like you're looking into what I say beyond what I say. So it is probably, you also insinuated that listen, Jess absolutely accused Elizabeth to her face of taking Charlie, and Elizabeth showed up at my property yesterday while I was gone and got in Jess's face. How do you guys feel about that? And that is not a fucking assumption. That is the truth. So how do you feel? So how do you feel that now that you know that your assumptions created enough turmoil between those people that Jess is not at my property this morning, she's driving around crying, she's called me in the morning, probably because she's afraid to go to my property after yesterday being confronted face to face by Elizabeth. Michelle said we never led her to believe that it was Elizabeth. So what some of you don't understand is that you're pushing buttons with people and you're creating a fire that doesn't need to be. And that is the truth. Elizabeth drove to my property yesterday, apparently looking for me, and I was gone. And then she got in Jess's face and said, you know, are you accusing me of taking Charlie? Why did you say that? And Jess was like, first of all, when he first went missing, I asked you. And then Jess actually texted me last night and said, can I please bring my gun to your property? I don't feel safe. So how do you all feel now that you know that's the turmoil we have today? And am I shocked? No. Do I feel like Elizabeth is in the wrong? I also knew who I hired when I hired her, so I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, am I surprised by Elizabeth's behavior? Are any of you? We know, I mean, just think about the facts that we know. So half the people on here never assumed it was Elizabeth, and the other half of the people who did assume that it was Elizabeth assumed it was her because you say I implied that it was her. How about you do this? How about you never read into what I say and assume that I implied anything? Now, Elizabeth did not like Charlie. She had told Jess more than one time she wanted to get rid of him. So when he went missing, did we assume it was her in the beginning? Yes. Did we ask her to her face when she was at my facility if she dumped Charlie? Yes. Do I believe in my mind that she did it? That's here nor there. That's absolutely here nor there. What I do know is that it was a white car that dumped Skeeter back out. Does Elizabeth drive a white car? No. So now that I have those facts, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about any of it. I was shocked when I was just basically told the job was no longer worth the salary and they were quitting. So I don't know. Obviously, I don't. Here's the next thing. How about we just say this? I obviously don't know the person as well as I thought I did because I thought we were best friends and everything according to the day before was amazing. And then for those of you who would say Tara is gaslighting us, whatever. I think it takes one to know one. In that situation, if you think I'm gaslighting you, well, I mean, why are you reading into a complete stranger on social media who you barely know and then accusing them of gaslighting you? I absolutely will tell you that when it first happened, we absolutely went to Elizabeth and asked her if she did it. When it first happened, and when she told us that she didn't do it, I believed her. But I will tell you that I have to, I have to deal with now. Jess is afraid to go to my property and is not at work at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I have another doctor's appointment about a cardiovascular issue I'm having. And Jess doesn't really want to go to work because she's afraid after yesterday. And that is the truth. And it's not me. Here's the thing. It's not me. It's not me that's afraid. So you have to understand, Jess had to take a mental health week. She comes back, and the moment that she comes back, she starts texting me how she feels and that she's, being bullied, that she feels these things. And it's okay for her to feel that way. But none of that needs to be public. And now what I will tell you that's public, because here's the next thing. I don't know how I feel about that. Elizabeth said that she came back to my property to get the last of her things. While she was there, however, she got in Jess's face and basically told her, like, XYZ. And the reason I'm even mentioning this now is because if something does happen, it's publicly said. She came to my property yesterday. She got in Jess's face. And Jess was, like, totally fucking freaked out. And I'm gone. And I get a phone call. And Jess is like, hey, Elizabeth just left here and she got in my face. And is it okay if I start bringing my gun to work with me? And how do you guys feel about that? And do you know what caused that? People who watched my video assumed something we said and then started inboxing Elizabeth, getting her hyped up, believing that she is like being accused of doing something that we're not accusing her of doing. So I am not mad at Elizabeth for getting in Jess's face or coming to my property and confronting her. And the reason I'm not angry about it is because I'm not going to punish myself for something that, I'm not going to be angry. Let's just say that. I'm not going to be angry. But what I will tell you is that it is really, honestly, no longer worth it to me. Like, my respect level for those of you on the internet is just like this, steadily. And at the end of the day, I think that it's sad that I'm sure that Elizabeth quitting her job was painful. I'm sure that she does have some love and respect for me. I'm sure that she did have some love for her job. And I'm sure that the decision she made was just basically out of, I'm not going to say necessity, but like out of her feeling. Like, first of all, let's just say that Elizabeth has decided that she's really serious about wanting more than $500 a week. And so, it's no longer worth, the job is no longer worth just $500 a week and a place to live for me. So it's not worth it. Especially when I think there's a lot of turmoil between her and Jess. There's a lot of fighting between them behind the scenes. They don't get along. So with those two not getting along, you know, those two don't get along, and they haven't been getting along. And it's been a fucking nightmare behind the scenes, and I've never mentioned it before now. But the more I think about Jess calling me, being like, hey, I just drove to your house. Why was Jess driving to my house unless she's scared? And why did you go to work, feed, and leave my property and come to my house? And you're like, I saw you jogging. And then I'm like, are you okay? Yeah. But would she really tell me on live if she wasn't okay? Like, come on now. And this isn't me. I'm not the one being bullied. I'm not the one. I love Elizabeth. That's my friend. I don't have that. I mean, but I think that there's also a respect there that, like, if we were to get into it, could she whip my ass? Maybe. But I'm going to tell you, she's going to work for it. But that doesn't mean that I would ever hit Elizabeth or, like, disrespect her. And I don't have any issues with the fact that she quit her job because she feels like she deserves more money. By God, baby girl, go get it. Go get that bag. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a businesswoman too. And if I'm doing a job and I don't feel like it is worth my time, and I now have people around me, you know, a boyfriend, and they're encouraging me to, you can get more money. You can make more than that. You can. So you guys have to remember, and there are people that are in the hate group and that watch my videos that do not like me. They don't like my staff, and right now they are probably celebrating, and they will say things like, let me just tell you, they will say things like, oh, they deserved it, you know, like, oh, well, you know, if they would have kept their mouth shut. But you know what? Life doesn't work that way. Like, life doesn't work that way. And what you're doing is you're playing with fire because you don't have anything else to do. You don't have anything else to do. And that's not okay. So I don't think that Elizabeth dumped Skeeter or picked up Skeeter. I don't even remotely think that. I saw the car that dumped her out. Jess and I both did. As far as Charlie goes, I do think Elizabeth dumped him. Like, I do think that. I think that he was in Rusk, Texas. That's where Elizabeth is living right now. That's down where her boyfriend is. And the day that he went missing, she left her probation officer shit and went to Rusk, where her ex-girlfriend's family are. That's where Charlie was found. I do believe that Jess believes it in her heart. We had confronted Elizabeth about it, and that is what the turmoil at my property has been about since Charlie went missing, is that those two cannot get along, because at the end of the day, the truth is Jess wholeheartedly believes, and I think Chrislyn, I think that's Elizabeth's ex, is who had Skeeter, and that white car is hers. That's what I think. So, I don't know why I'm pussyfooting around how I feel, other than I'm pussyfooting around how I feel about the situation, because I also know that we have a person who showed up at my property yesterday and confronted Jess and got in her face. And Jess is this big, and Jess is mentally already, like, not okay. And I think that the issue with the job is that Charlie has been found. Jess found him online, and I think when I was the last person to know before it was publicly said. So, at the end of the day, I tried not to make any assumptions or accusations because I have no proof, but we're humans. So, if you made the assumptions off of what I said, I did my best to not. And the truth is, if Elizabeth doesn't like it, then you shouldn't have said multiple times on my property to Jess and I both that you wanted to get rid of Charlie and that you would dump him because you were tired of him breeding your dogs. You were tired of him breeding your 2 female dogs. You didn't want him in your house because he pissed on your couch. And at the end of the day, Charlie is the one who actually lived at the farm and everybody else was a guest. So, let's not make any assumptions. And if Elizabeth doesn't like it, at the end of the day, I have a lot of respect for her. I have a lot of love for her. Do I feel like all of the issues at my property have stemmed from Charlie going missing? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. 100% of them. Hello. Hey, Nope, I'm not. I just had something come up. Yeah, no, yeah, it's okay. I was there, but I am headed to my farm because I'm headed to my farm. But I will call you back. Thank you. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. So, at the end of the day, if it hurts your feelings that we assume that you did it, Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. However, the writing was all over the wall when you said, I don't understand why we're keeping a stray. He's breeding my dogs. And then when Skeet came into heat and we had to pin her up and she was like howling and like just being belligerent because she's never really been crated. She's never been crated. And that became a big issue. Charlie got crated. And then the next morning, Jess got there, put his collar on him, put his coat on him. She went to feed, and when she went to go get food and came back, Elizabeth was gone for her probation, and Charlie was gone. And Elizabeth and Jess have not hardly spoke since that day, and Jess had to have a week off because she felt so bullied, and she felt so pushed around and so intimidated that her mental health was suffering, and she was kind of afraid. Yeah. And then there's me, who is just over here like, well, fuck. I'm not afraid of Elizabeth. I'm not, but in the same breath, like, I knew who I hired. Like, I knew who I hired. And I respect her for all of her growth and all of her other things. And I respect Jess. But at the end of the day, I set a lot of boundaries privately between everybody. And at that point, Elizabeth then, I think Elizabeth felt like I took Jess's side. And she felt like my loyalty was not with her. And she's like me. She literally has love language of loyalty. She is a fire-ass good person. Like, she's a good person. Now, the fact that I am having to discuss this after I said I fucking wouldn't makes me so angry and makes my blood boil. But you guys won't leave enough alone, and you keep inboxing her, and you keep inboxing her because people want to know what happened so fucking badly that you just poke until it comes out so you know every goddamn detail. You need every goddamn detail to fucking feel good about yourself, don't you? And it's not all of you, but it's enough of you that she showed up at my property yesterday and got in Jess's face. So any one of you that are any kind of a normal human would believe that Elizabeth dumped Charlie. The writing is in capital fucking red painted letters on the wall. I mean, it just, everything there is, especially where he was found right around the corner from where Elizabeth's ex's parents live, who she goes and stays with. So I mean, pretty much. And at the end of the day, the white car that dumped Skeet out was not Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was not in that vehicle. So I want you to know that the turmoil at my fucking property has been because Elizabeth and Jess cannot get along, because Jess knew in her heart this entire fucking time that that dog was dumped, and she couldn't even come back to work because she has had like vomit about it. Like, it has fucked her up emotionally to the point that I have actually asked her, should we get you counseling? Like, do we... What? And then if you're wondering, oh, well, Tara, is this or that? Am I? Because here's the deal. I left my house and Jess was headed to my house. Why would she be headed to my fucking house at 8:30 in the morning, away from her job, and sounding like she needed to cry? So, all of you who watch this video and think that you're doing the world any kind of a favor because you don't like me, and you hope Elizabeth fights me, I'm not gonna fight her. And I promise you, if she shows up to my property and does this again, we'll put a restraining order on her. And if she shows up again, I have a gun. Jess has a gun. Elizabeth is a felon and doesn't have a gun. So put 2 and 2 together. You're fucking with somebody's kid now. And I would never in a million years want to put that on somebody. But you're also not going to come to my property and intimidate somebody and make them feel like you're going to hurt them. You know? Like, don't go there. And is Elizabeth a good person? Abso-fucking-lutely. And you're going to say, well, these actions right here aren't of a good person. Good people do shit in moments that they're angry that they shouldn't. Ask any person that's in prison right now, 9 times out of 10, they will tell you that they reacted out of anger or spite or whatever, and bad things happened. So it really didn't escalate quickly. This has been going on. It's been a fucking shit show behind the scenes. It has been awful. Jess had to take a week off for her mental health, and it wasn't her fucking job she was running from. It wasn't me. And at the end of the day, my husband is the one that when I called and told him, hey, Elizabeth just said her job isn't worth it. What do we want to do? Do we want to offer more money or do we want to let her go? My husband said, my God, Terry, you're the dumbest fucking bitch in America. He said that to me and I laughed and I said, I am, aren't I? And he said, yeah. He said, no, we're not offering any more money. He said, we're going to restaff. He said, you have to stop being friends with your staff. And he said, because here's the thing. You're being friends with one staff member and your loyalty to her makes you feel like the turmoil between her and the other staff member. You're just going like this. And he said, you should have already lined that shit out. And I said, I don't know because... And he said, do you think she dumped the dog? And I said, yeah. And he said, so Jess has been right this entire time. And I said, yeah, Jess has been right this entire time. He said, then why haven't you fired her? He said, you fucking fucked around and let her quit on you when you should have fired her the day that you thought the dog went missing. He said, the only reason you didn't is because you make friends with people to the point that you let them run you over, take advantage of each other, to the point that you're letting your business burn up in flames because you refuse to go out there because you're avoiding all the drama. And he said, so you'd rather sit your fucking ass at the house and avoid your own property and not even do what you love to do because why? And I'm like, because I don't want the drama and I don't want that. And he was like, so yeah. So then my husband's not wrong. My husband is not wrong. My husband will tell a dumb bitch when she's a dumb bitch. And that's not gaslighting me. That is expecting me to level up and do better. So I'm in a relationship, and he didn't call me a bitch. But he did say to stop being a dumbass. He's like, you have to pull your fucking head out of your ass. Jacob's exact words were, what are you fucking calling me for? After I said, hey, Elizabeth no longer works for us. And he said, thank God. And I said, shut up, Jacob. And then I said, here's the deal. She said the job was no longer worth it. Her work ethic is amazing. She takes amazing care of my horses. And she's my friend. Should I offer her more money? What should I do? And he said, you've got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Are you that stupid? Are you that stupid? And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're fucking stupid. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, you have literally allowed it to get so bad out there. And he said, truthfully, Dara is the only one that just gets up every day and says, I'm not being problematic today. I'm not being problematic today. I'm not being problematic. I'm just going to go feed the horses and hang out with my kid. And he's like, be like Dara, Tara. Be like fucking Dara. Why can't you just be friends with her? He said, at least if I know that you're close with her, you're not going to have fucking problems in your life. He said, she's the only one that's got a functioning goddamn brain cell on that entire property. That's what my husband said to me. That's legitimately what my husband said to me. And he's like, you and Jess are over here trying to be non-confrontational with somebody that wants to be confrontational. He said, you have stayed out of the dog drama. And I said to my husband, I am not taking sides in this because it's a stray dog. It's a stray dog. And then my husband said, it doesn't matter if it's a stray dog or not. How do you preach? My husband said it. How do you preach about, oh, somebody is so good to the animals when they did that? He said, it's one of those things, Tara, to where, to me, if you dump a dog off, you can't turn around and say you're an animal lover. He said, I wouldn't even do that shit. I've never dumped a dog in my life. I'll give it away. I'll find it a home and not tell you. He said, but I'm not going to dump it. And I said, well, maybe she did get it a home. I said, for all I know, she found somebody to take him. I don't know. I do believe that he went missing when she had time off. So this is all transpiring, and all of you guys are like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, well, what's going on is a fucking shit show, and I'm fixing to close my property and not rehome horses anymore and let everything my husband buy goes to slaughter, because I don't want to do it anymore, because I can't handle this. And I can't handle that I'm just trying to like grow my business, and I'm trying to be friends with everybody, and I'm trying to not piss people off. And at the end of the day, there are people that dislike me so bad that they can't just stay out of it long enough to let it go away. I'm the shit human being. I'm the fucking shit human being, because at the end of the day, I watch two people that I really like both of have horrible beef, and I did not want to get in the middle of it. And that's not loyalty. That's just, and what, because I don't know what to do. What do you do when you have two people you're extremely loyal to who can no longer even be in the same room with each other? And the biggest thing that happened is Jess is overly emotional, and Jess is overly like non-confrontational. So Jess's solution was the same as my solution: retreat. Go home for a week, stay away, maybe it'll go away. And if you want me to tell you the truth, on Thursday when Jess came back, I feel like Jess was trying to put it behind her. Jess was trying to just move on and like, okay, maybe Elizabeth did not. Maybe Elizabeth, this is before the quitting. Maybe Elizabeth didn't dump the dog. So let me just pull this up. Let me just pull this shit up so we can just wrap our goddamn heads around this conversation. Let me just read all of these to you. And they're in black and white. So this is Wednesday morning. I'm sorry. This is Wednesday morning at 5:59 a.m. Literally a daily on Owning Goats. Laugh out loud. So at 5:59 in the morning, early, excited, here she comes, and she texts Elizabeth, Dara, and I. And Elizabeth's response is a photo of the office. And she says, this shit ain't cool. And Dara says, wasn't me. I'll help you clean it up again. Elizabeth says, I'm not cleaning it this time. It's someone else's turn. And Jess says, who's the guys? If the boxes went in the trash after each opening, it wouldn't get that way. All right. So right away, Jess just tries to diffuse it. And she says, who's you guys? If the boxes went in the trash at each opening, it wouldn't get that way. But I claimed this week anyway. Leave it for me tomorrow. Did we talk about the schedule yesterday? Elizabeth said, yeah, but you also told me not to do my stalls because you would do them and never did it. So it's kind of hard for me to depend on you right now. No offense. I'm just trying to cover my own ass, because every time anything doesn't go your way, you retreat and run home. And Jess, bro, come on. I've never seen you clean up the food in vet day. And then it was said, well, Elizabeth, it's because it's in your barn and I'm in the opposite barn. And right about this time, they have woke me up. They have woke me up. I am awake. And it says, last time you got on the office to help, you just kind of rummaged through the drawers and mopped. She said, just please remember that your work is not the hardest. We all work really hard. And Dara says, yes, we do. Amen. Can we all just please get along? And then Elizabeth says, remember, I actually get shit done, unlike you. So now Elizabeth is not letting it die. She is fucking attacking Jess. Jess has been gone. Jess is coming back from her break a day early. She's like happy bebopping in her car because I know her. And she's like sending goat TikToks. And she's like fucking probably rapping out to some old school Tupac or something, because I know Jess. So she's like, you know, and here she comes. And then Elizabeth is just like, fuck you, bitch, fuck you, bitch, fuck you, bitch, fuck you, bitch. So then I wake up and my phone has got all these messages. And I said, Listen, I don't give a fuck who cleans the office, but it needs to be done on a regular basis. There's obviously a lot of problems going on, and I've noticed that you guys keep saying that you don't have anything to do and to please pay you for spa days. However, both of those barns are a goddamn disaster. Between the trash pile in the front not being picked up, which, by the way, have any of us figured out why they're not coming to get the trash, and the office and my shed rows, my head is about to explode. Every time I see y'all post that you need more spa days, Elizabeth, let me be really honest, I cringe knowing how awful my place looks, but you're begging for people to send you money for spa days. So I was a fucking sleep. I politely asked for none of you to text me until Monday. I wasn't kidding, because I need a break from all of this nonsense. And yet here it is following me home on the one fucking day that I am just trying to sleep. And now here I am fucking awake having to deal with this nonsense. Well, you said you were turning your phone off, so bye. And I said, first of all, you three sort out whatever the fuck you need to between the three of you. Jacob and I don't need involved, and I'm tired of feeling like I run a goddamn daycare instead of a business. She said, no shit, that'd be nice. This is Elizabeth. The other two have both just said sorry and sorry. Now Elizabeth wants to argue. No shit, that'd be nice. And I said, if I have to literally assign work when I get back, I'll do it. Elizabeth, Jess has had a break. She just got back yesterday, 2 days early. And you are super pressed, clearly, from the tone of your text messages, that you feel like she has not been pulling her weight. But in this conversation, you three need to have this person to person. And it doesn't need to happen through text message. When I truly have an issue, I don't text you. I talk to you face to face, but here I am having to argue. And she says, pressed, fuck that. No, ma'am. No one does the shit that I do. I'm the only one that pulls my weight around here, because, you know, I will make this... Oh, and that makes me feel super used, but you're right. We can talk in person. And I said, it's easy to lose sight of things when you should be grateful. First of all, if you go through that office, you will realize most of the boxes left in that office have your fucking name on them. Now then, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of everybody begging for spa days. And then, bro, I don't beg for shit. And I said, okay, whatever. Making a daily post about spa days when I watch everything at my property slowly get less done. So you might be working and you might be feeling like you're doing more work than everybody, but you're also the one that's taking on that work. Spa days are not required. So if cleaning up people's horses, running around taking photos, and doing all of the extra, including going to pick up special feed for people's horses, is adding to your workload, it's not required and you're being paid extra to do it. How do you think I feel? You feel, this is what I said. Are you ready? You feel, are you ready? Upset. Because you feel like you're being taken advantage of. How the fuck do you think I feel? How the fuck do you think I feel when I have dedicated my entire life to have that property so that I can employ people, even like you, who have a felony, and give you a second chance and bend over backwards to do everything that I can? My following send you packages, they give you gifts, they are paying you for spa days. I have created avenues for you to make extra money because your $500 a week salary is clearly not enough, and it's still not enough for you. I'm still at 6 in the morning dealing with arguing between you. I've been dealing with this arguing for going on 2 weeks now, and I want it to stop, and if it can't stop, I'm just gonna have to restaff. Period. So, Elizabeth quits. That's what happened. Elizabeth says, this job is no longer worth it to me. I feel disrespected. And my response to her was, you're the only one being disrespectful. And honestly, your behavior towards Jess is atrocious. And she quit. So, any more gray area, any more black area, any more anything? Because I can tell you, I can tell you right now, that if anybody should feel taken advantage of, if anybody should feel like they got run over or that they were being taken for granted or unappreciated, it's me. It's me. I'm not going to restaff the 2 people that apologized in that text message. When I got angry from Dara, I got, first of all, Dara was really not involved. You know what Dara said? I'll clean the office. I'm feeding. So while Dara is out there feeding and watering, because Lane is at Jess's with Colton fishing, so Dara's out there working, Jess is on her way, Elizabeth is sitting in the office angry And at the end of the day, I still love Elizabeth. I'm not angry that she set a boundary. I'm not angry that my husband set boundaries. And the thing is at the end of the day, when everybody set their boundaries, it's separate cubicles that can't overlap. So the boundaries that Elizabeth set are not okay by me. The boundaries I set are not okay by Elizabeth. And the boundaries that my husband set absolutely eliminate Elizabeth from the picture. Because my husband does not want boys coming to a private property off of Tinder. And this was discussed after the hobosexual kept staying. And my husband said, we didn't allow it to go on the property when Tinley was there. Why is it okay for Dara to have to be there with Lane and people are coming and going? And then what kind of example is it for Lane? So my husband is the only adult in the situation. I will tell you, my husband is the only person that has like been arrested, learned his lesson, and has turned into a fire fucking adult that is like a model fucking citizen, and he should write a book on how to adult, because my husband is the only person in America that is just like, it's black, it's white, anything else is bullshit, and go. You know what my husband told me to do? My husband told me to close my fucking Facebook page, fuck the Facebook monetization, that we make enough money that I don't really need it, and that I could scale back, because the money that's on Facebook is making zero profit, and it's only going to run my establishment in a manner in which he is not okay with, because he said that at this point it's turned into a reality, you know, creator, whatever, and that it's not worth it. My husband doesn't want to manage this fucking shit show. My husband has a giant business that makes 55 times more money. My husband makes 7 figures a year. My husband is wealthy. My husband is no drama. And my husband is just working his ass off, going to sales 6 days a week. And truthfully, the only time he comes over here, by the time he leaves, he cannot wait to leave because he can't stand the drama on my property that you guys aren't seeing. And he said, it's unfair to Dara, and she's the only one with a functioning brain cell. That's what he said. He said she just gets up, and Jacob said her motto is like, let's be unproblematic. Let's just go do work shit. Let's just be unproblematic. And he's like, and the rest of you are like dumpster fires. That's what my husband said. That's what my husband said. So my husband loves Jess. When we really talked about it, he said, I have no problem with her. He said, she's just young. Jacob's entire thing to this is that she is 21 years old and she is young and she's super passive aggressive and she doesn't want to fight with anybody. And he said, that's perfectly fine. He said, I genuinely believe that we would have no problems if Elizabeth was removed from the situation. She has removed herself from the situation. He said, so just go on. And I said, okay. And I tried to just, okay. Okie dokie. Okay. But can I just go on? No. And why can't I go on? Why can I not go on? Because I have people on the internet inboxing Elizabeth telling her, oh, I'm so sorry. And Tara's talking about, no, genuinely. That is my homie. Like, I loved her. I respected that she left. It was also not something like, Dara was like, I want to beg her to stay because she does pull her weight. And I told her that's not an option. I just talked to Jacob, and as soon as I told him that she was leaving, he told me, thank God, and it is not an option at this point. Like, please don't beg her. Because Dara wanted to beg her to stay, and I understand that because I would have begged her to stay. But when I called my husband and told him, he told me no. I didn't have that option to like be like, Elizabeth, can I give you? I would have probably caved and given her more money. Because that's my friend and I don't want to lose my friend. But like Jacob said, are you so fucking desperate you'll pay people to be your friend? Like, shut the fuck up, Tara. Like, if you ever thought that the hate group is my biggest critic, it's not. I live with Jacob Thompson and I love him, but he is like, you know why my husband can hurt my feelings when other people really can't? Because the truth fucking hurts, and my husband only tells me the truth. My husband makes me cry at least once a week. And you guys would say, oh my God, I would never live with a man who made me cry. No, first of all, a man who would never make you cry wouldn't live with a bitch like me. Like, so time out. You probably don't need put in your place 7 fucking days a week. Okay? And I do. I'm fucking stupid. Like, I am a stupid bitch. I'm telling, and I say this out of a term of endearment to myself. Like, I have learned to love me, but like, I will light a dumpster fire and not realize the gas can is in there and then be like, ooh, flames. Huh, how did that happen? And my husband's like, you have got to be kidding me. And here comes my husband with like double barrels of like shit to put the fire out. And he's like, go in the house. Like, that's just my husband. Like, I am like, hey, I've created a problem. And my husband is like, dumb bitch, go in the house. And here he comes to like extinguish my husband is the most unproblematic individual in America. Listen, another killpin chose to name a set of fat donkeys Jacob and Tara. And it said, Jacob and Tara, bonded pair of fat jackasses. Like, contact our page. Do you know what my husband posted in the comments? I'll take them both, just bring them to Opelousas Tuesday. Like, he was so unaffected and he laughed so hard at their dig that they were trying to get in. He just told them he would buy them. Like, just bring them to Opelousas Tuesday. I'll take them both. He sent me a screenshot and he was like, hey, I think I got you some mascots for your property. Like, my husband, I wish to God that he was the one that would be live, because I'm telling you, that motherfucker is fire. I am married to a king. Do you hear me? I'm married to the most amazing man who is like unproblematic and fucking hilarious and has the sense of humor of God, and I just need more of him and less of being by myself. And he said that the other day. He's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. He's like, I can't be there every day. He was like, but when he's here every day, he can like constantly be the voice of reason in the back of my head that doesn't exist. And I am like an unproblematic queen. And my husband like wanders off to go back to work because he makes 7 figures a year and he's trying to be like, you know, self-made millionaire over here. And I'm like, dumpster fire! Jacob's gone! And he's like, why? Why can't I? He's like, do you know what I would have said? I would have